students, let's begin with the third chapter from your History and Civics book of grade 7, and the name of the chapter is Birth of Prophet Muhammad and Spread of Islam. So today we are going to start from the Abbasid and the Umayyad dynasties. The greatest intellectual and cultural excellence was seen during the reign or during the period, you can say, of the Abbasid caliphs. The Umayyad caliphs were preceded by Abbasids. Okay, they are talking about the next generations. Okay, preceded means the generation next. Okay, had established their capital in Damascus. The Abbasids shifted the caliphate from Damascus to Baghdad. Baghdad is the present capital of Iraq. For the next 150 years, the Arab Empire under the Abbasids emerged as one of the most powerful, prosperous means developing, and enlightened means the persons those who are getting lots of knowledge. Okay, enlightenment means getting knowledge or gaining knowledge. Enlightened regions in the world. The Arabs absorbed and assimilated. Assimilated means collected, absorbed. They started learning and they started accumulating or collecting the best of what other cultures and civilizations had to offer in terms of ideas, skills, and scientific knowledge. So the Arabs were basically trying to get all the good points, all the, you can say, ideas, skills means different kind of techniques, and the scientific knowledge they were acquiring or they were absorbing, collecting from different kind of cultures. You can see there is a flow chart given in page number 27. Right, so they are saying from Chinese what are the things they took, from Greek, from Persia, from India. They started collecting these knowledges. Muhammad had advised the Arabs to pursue learning. Okay, on the Abbasid Caliph established a house of wisdom. A house of wisdom was established at Baghdad to translate into Arabic the collective wisdom of various ancient civilizations such as Greek, Byzantine, Egyptian, Chinese, Indian, and Persian civilizations. Baghdad became the repository, or you can say center or store of preserve of rich culture and heritage of the ancient world. Next, we are starting with India and the Arab world. The Arabs established several trade settlements, that means business settlements, or you can say business deals, on the western coast of India. Many of them intermarried and made India their home. Okay, they got married, few of them got married and settled back in India. Indian traders used Arab merchant ships to transport their goods to the western world. Okay, in exchange for Indian muslin is the name of a cloth, paper. This paper means the spice. They are talking about a spice paper, indigo, etc. The Arabs bought luxurious items and fine Arabian horses to India. Okay, what they brought? They brought the luxurious items and they brought the horses. The Arabs bought all these items to India and sold it here. Islam spread to Southeast Asia through Arab traders. Okay, the Arab traders started spreading Islam in the Southeast Asian continent. The old Hindu kingdoms of Malaysia and Indonesia declined and were eventually replaced by Muslim dynasties. India's contacts and influence to these areas gradually went means disappeared. Okay, so as Islam religion is spreading and the Muslim dynasties got established in Malaysia and Indonesia, so the Indians, those who were doing the trade with those countries, got the trade business, or you can say the deals and the settlements got disappeared slowly. In 702 CE, the Arab expedition under Muhammad bin Qasim defeated the ruler of Sindh and occupied the entire province. And the occupation of Sindh ended with the death of Muhammad bin Qasim. So he could not expand it more. He was limited to that single area of Sindh. The Arabs could not spread their influence to other parts of India because the Rajputs were too strong for them. So the Rajputs were ruling at the time and they were not able to conquer those areas. So basically we find the Rajputs in the Rajasthan area, right? So according to some historians, we can say that Muslim scholar Al-Biruni, the Indians, means Al-Biruni is trying to say, according to his observation, he is saying that the Indians believed that no other country on earth but theirs had any knowledge of science. Hence they were generally not receptive to the rich treasures of Arabic learning and civilizations. So here they are trying to explain that the Indians are believing that they were very scientific by nature, and for that they are not having any kind of treasure to be learned or about the culture, nothing they have to learn from the Arab. But the Arabs are saying they are learning a lot from India. The Arabs, on the other hand, learned a great deal from the ancient Indian civilization. Knowledge of Indian mathematics, medicine, astronomy, philosophy, and the art of administration were assimilated, means collected by the Arabs, leading to the future enrichment of Arab civilization and culture. Next, they are saying about the Turks. By 9th century CE, the power of the caliphs declined, and the Arab Empire split into number of independent kingdoms. So you can see that in India, as the Arabs came and established their empire, slowly, though those empires were not being noted as only one single empire, now they are establishing independent own kingdoms. Two independent states established by the Turks. Turks are the people those who came from Turkey. Okay, they were known as Turks. In Central Asia were Ghazni and Ghori, or often they say Muhammad Ghor also. Okay, the Ghor dynasty or the Ghori dynasty. The Turks were originally nomadic tribes who adapted Islam as their religion. It was they who eventually established a Muslim empire in India. So we can say that the Turks were the people who came in India and established the Muslim empire, that the Mughal empires here, right?